Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about War for the Planet of the Apes. This is the third and potentially final chapter in this prequel series of Planet of the Apes films that lead up to the original Charlton Heston movie. In this new film, you guys, Caesar, who's still the leader of the apes, based on both the first and second film in this new series of Planet of the Apes movies, he's still the leader of the apes. And once again, he's helping the apes remain safe from humans, and he's also fighting some inner demons this time. He's lost a lot of family. He's seen a lot of really bad, harsh things happen in his life at this point, and he just has a lot of inner demons to face. He wants to do things by himself, and because he's so valued amongst the apes don't want to let him go by himself to go out and do stuff. So Caesar runs into this problem where he wants to do things more individually. He doesn't want to do everything as a group like he did in the first two Planet of the Apes films of this new series. He wants to be able to be his own ape and to be able to go out and do his own little missions in his own terms and everything like that. But the apes don't want him to do that. They want him to stick around. They want him to lead the group. So Caesar runs into this problem at first, and his problem becomes even bigger when he is out on his own, when he does finally kind of get the apes permission to be able to go out and do his own missions. And he gets stuck at this ape prison camp that is holding a bunch of apes prisoner. And it's definitely a war between the humans and the apes at this point in the timeline for Planet of the Apes before Charlton Heston gets to Earth. And Caesar's trying to escape the prison camp. There's a colonel there that's played by Woody Harrelson that is just really mean and brutal and is willing to do really horrible things to the apes. And so it's really up to the apes to just kind of take on these humans, go to war with them, just kind of claim Earth once and for all to the apes, because the humans are just out to kill every single ape there is. So basically, there is no mercy amongst the humans. So the apes have to fight back. And for the planet of Earth to become Planet of the Apes, as the title suggests, they have to win this war, or else Earth will forever belong to the humans. And if the apes win, the planet will forever be a planet to the apes. So Caesar has to fight his own inner demons while also trying to make sure that the apes do win this war against the humans, as he is stuck in this prison camp. So overall, guys, I liked War for the Planet of the Apes. I didn't absolutely love it. There is a lot of parts I really liked in it, but there's a lot of aspects in this film that I really didn't get too behind like a lot of critics are. A lot of critics are really raving this movie right now. I'm personally not in the huge raving side, but I am on the supporting side. I do think this is a good movie. I think it's a proper wrap up to Planet of the Apes, that this is the kind of the final Planet of the Apes film we're ever going to get. So I liked what they did with this movie, but overall, I thought Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I thought were overall better Planet of the Apes movies. And of course, the original one is also very, very good as well. But for my positives and negatives of War for the Planet of the Apes, I do like how this was a continuation of the Caesar character. I definitely love what Andy Serkis has done with this character. For each and every film, he always seems to grow as a character in a certain way. So I really always cared for this character, Caesar. He had a very interesting way of looking at things, even though he kind of started this whole Planet of the Apes things of humans versus apes. He still kind of has a side of him that really kind of wishes that humans and apes could have allied with each other and forever kind of agreed and understood each other. Even though all this stuff with the apes is still going on, there's still always kind of that part of Caesar that wishes that apes and humans could have gotten along somehow along the way. So I do like how the Caesar character is once again continued in the story, and continued in a way of him fighting inner demons in a way that we haven't seen him deal with that before. This film also has amazing visual effects. They did a lot of motion capture CGI in this movie, and I really could not tell that it was CGI just because these apes really do look like apes. Andy Serkis really does become this character this time around. Obviously he did so in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but he really did become this character this time around, as well as all these other motion capture actors who are playing these apes. You just really believe that you are watching humans and apes on the screen. It really doesn't feel like humans and motion capture humans in this movie. It really does feel like apes in this movie. So I really thought the visual effects of this film were very, very impressive. Steve Zahn has a role in this movie. He plays one of the apes in this movie. His character's name is Bad Ape because he misbehaved in the zoo when humans were still dominantly on the earth, and these people were still going to the zoo and everything like that. So his character of Bad Ape, I definitely liked how his character added a sense of humor in this movie in a way that's appropriate for this movie, because this is a very, very dark movie. It's a very gloomy movie. It's a very, like, in the spirit of Schindler's List kind of movie. So I do like how Steve Zahn kind of created a character that really is kind of a comedic comic relief in an appropriate way for such a movie like this. He really does fit in the story really well without it ruining kind of the mood of the movie, I guess. I also thought that there was a lot of compelling silent moments in this movie. There's a lot of moments in this movie that are just completely silent, almost no dialogue at all. And I think for some moments in this movie that really helps. It really goes to show how compelling the material is, kind of how when the apes are taking something in, when they see something tragic, when they are, realizing something about themselves or about what the humans are doing. It really adds to the material. So I do like how some of these silent moments really do feel really compelling in the script for this movie. I can't get into too much detail on this one, but they do explain kind of why in the first Planet of the Apes film, how Charlton Heston's kind of the only social human out of all the humans in that movie, kind of how all the humans are silent. So, like I said, I can't get into too much detail on that because it would kind of be spoiler territory. But all I'm going to say is they do kind of explain why he's kind of the more verbal human in that movie when he went to the Planet of the Apes. So I do like how this film kind of explains why that is instead of just them being terrified of what the apes could do to them in those cages like they did in the first movie. So they do explain that in this movie in a very interesting way. So I thought that was very neat as well. There's also a lot of tense drama in this movie. They really have some moments here that really do feel dramatically tense in this movie. So I thought they handled those moments very well in this movie. Now, for my next comment, it's definitely both a positive and a negative. There are things about this comment that I think help the movie, and there's things about this comment that kind of hurt the movie as well. So let's kind of go over that. So for my next comment on this review, this is a very non-dialogue driven movie. It almost kind of feels like a silent film at some points. Why that helps the movie is I feel like that kind of gives the audience a chance to kind of really take in what the apes are feeling, kind of what, if they're seeing something tragic, if it's done in first person, because there are a lot of shots of this film that are done in first person and Caesar's point of view and stuff like that. It really does kind of add to the experience of being an ape in this situation that this movie is in. So I liked that aspect of the non-dialogue driven script. But on the negative side of that, I really thought that hurt the character development in this movie. And at some points, it just felt really boring. It just really felt like they really could be out doing something more, and then they're not. So there's just a lot of moments here where, because it goes silent for so long, there really isn't a lot of character development into the extent that I was hoping for. And there's just a lot of moments here that really do kind of feel kind of boring as a result, too. But for my other negatives of War for the Planet of the Apes, I thought Woody Harrelson's character was just really flat. I thought what made James Franco a compelling character in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and what made Jason Clarke a compelling character in Dawn for the Planet of the Apes is that those two characters were kind of the human character that kind of understood the apes. There's at least one human character that kind of understood where the apes were at in both films. I really felt that War for the Planet of the Apes could have had a human character that was along that line as well. I was hoping they were going to go that route with Woody Harrelson based on what the trailer suggested, but they don't. And there's actually a lot of opportunities here where I really thought they could have done something more interesting with Woody Harrelson's character. Maybe even if he never becomes the good guy or realizes he can become a good guy or whatever. It just felt like a flat character. It just kind of felt like the mean prison camp leader person that just had no mercy for anybody, was willing to do horrible things to his own people to get his way and everything like that. Really flat character to me. I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with that. It's like, oh, well, he's a villain. How do you expect him to do that? But for me personally, it just felt really flat. It just felt like a really uninteresting way to kind of bring his character to the screen. Really was not impressed with what they did with Woody Harrelson in this movie. I thought they really could have rewritten him altogether. And that goes into my next point. This is a very gloomy movie. It's a very gloomy tone in this movie. It just kind of got on my nerves after a while. I thought Dawn of the Planet of the Apes had just enough dark material where you kind of understood where people and apes were at, but it wasn't to the point where you couldn't enjoy the movie. There was just so many gloomy moments in this movie that it was just kind of hard to take it in as a blockbuster movie. So that's one thing I thought hurt the movie is it just gets way too gloomy after a while. I also thought the ending of this film was very predictable. I knew what they were going to do for an ending about an hour into the movie. I knew exactly what they were going to do. It's about 2.5 hours, so that's kind of saying something about an hour in, and you already know what they're going to do. I also thought there wasn't enough human moments in this movie. I thought that's one thing that Rise and Dawn did that this film could have had more of is more human moments, more moments where they're kind of letting us know what's going on with the humans, kind of having interesting human characters like a James Franco character, like a Jason Clarke character, even like what Gary Oldman did in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, a character like that even. Just not enough human moments in this movie. I really felt like this film could have benefited more from having more moments like that, and they don't really ever go that direction. I also thought there was a lot of Holocaust images in this film that just really went over the top. A lot of these Holocaust images just go way too far than I'm still a little shocked that this film is PG-13 because they really show some really brutal stuff in this movie. I really, like I said, it was hard to take this film in as a blockbuster after seeing all this Holocaust imagery. It just, I don't know. I thought they could have done it in a more fun way than how they did it. So overall, I'm going to give War for the Planet of the Apes 8.5 out of 10. When it works well, it really works well. And when it doesn't work well, it really doesn't work well. I really thought they could have done something completely different with Woody Harrelson. I really thought the gloomy tone really didn't need to be as gloomy as it was. I thought a more surprising ending would have benefited the movie. More human elements were needed. And I just thought those Holocaust images just got way too over the top after a while. But like I said, it really does continue the Caesar character well. The visual effects are amazing. Steve Zahn's Bad Ape character was awesome and funny. They explain why the humans are silent in the first movie. The compelling drama and the compelling silent moments help the movie. And of course, there's some tense drama that helped the movie as well. But like I said, it has its negatives too, though. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. I personally thought Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes were better. What do you guys think? I like this movie. I wasn't completely in love with it. They wrapped it up well enough, but they could have done an even better job, I thought. So Rise and Dawn were better for me, but I still enjoyed this movie overall.